Hey yo, what the
What's good, y'all? What is this, first video? So let's get it popping. This is round one of many. If you don't know me, then you're about to. Young Brand Flanagan. Young Bullet Bill. My name's Courtland. I'm not that aggressive in real life, but you know how it goes. You ready to ride with the land or swim with the fish? Okay. On this channel, we're gonna be doing some video game reviews, some playthroughs, even TV show reviews if I feel like it. Maybe vlogs. And, you know, depending on how those go, we might make separate channels for it. But here we are. And today, we're dissecting into a very special game. It's called Guilty Gear Strive. And I've got some beef with this fucking game. So let's jump in. Damn! No self-restraint.
Guilty Gear Strive is one of the nastiest fighting games I've ever played. And I've played a good sum of fighting games. And don't give me that, you clearly haven't played that many fighting games. Yeah, well, okay, my nigga. I hope that yellow Roman cancel you on and ends up blue and cause you to lose your next tournament set. Whether it's regarding this game's Internet Explorer ass lobby system or these MS Paint ass life bars, the battle system of this game needs some goddamn work. No, it wasn't Sonic Fox Sweep that made me say this. No, it wasn't a result of me getting 33rd at Levo. I have felt this way even since the first beta. This game is borderline bugged, and not the good bug. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and cap to y'all. Guilty Gear Strive is a game that is filled with mostly fantastic animations and a pretty colorful cast. It's got some spirit, and it's got charm, in a graphic design is my passion sort of way. Now imagine, you've got all of that, and then, BOOM! Once you dig a little deeper into the lovely grandeur of a fighting game with rollback netcode, the game selling over 500k copies with mediocre marketing outside the FGC's help seems a little hard to believe. Of course, fighting games are getting bigger along with esports as a whole, but in terms of general gameplay, I can't help but think this game is pretty shallow. When I tell y'all I've never witnessed a game like this one, a game that is so simple, a game that is so encouragingly impulsive. Guilty Gear Strive is absurd, and to me, not in a very endearing way. Now this doesn't mean that there's no high skill ceiling in this game. Whether that's true or false, I don't know. I don't give a damn. All I mean is that with this new philosophy to make it easier for people to pick up and play, leads the mid to higher level of play to be surrounded with absolute barbarians, animals of players. DBFZ Online is one of the most insulting video game experiences one can have, and I play most games on their hardest difficulty. When I tell you I've seen the peak of complete morons hopping on a controller and crying to you over PSN like, Courtland, how dare you kill my wife, steal my kids, and put me in debt? I will find you and I will rip you limb from limb! Like, my nigga, could you simmer down?
I'm sorry, but it's just a game, you know?
Quite frankly, you niggas do not know how to take your losses. You niggas never have. But this game takes this preconceived player animosity to the next level. Strive has birthed some of the most embryonic, incomprehensible, and remedial players I've quite honestly ever dealt with. Whether it's May, Leo, Potemkin, Soul, Ramathal, Chip, Giovanna, you know, etc. You could give me Devil May Cry 3 on Dante Must Die. You could give me the smallest blanket you have and make me use it for a cold night. I would rather do any of the following than play a single match against any of the characters in this game. But you know, at least there's characters like Zato or Kai, Faust. Nah. Axel. No, well, at least there's Milia, Nagoriyuki. Wait a sec. I hate all of these niggas. Terms like gorilla and braindead aren't even the incorrect term to describe the 16 now 17 character roster that is in this game due to the newest character reveal, Jacko. Now I know y'all see Jacko's red-haired, Coke bottle body, fine ass. She can throw her minions at me any day, I'll still wake up grab. She can get a 3 out of 5 set from me with no Ethernet cable. It's half past time she learns what a real DP is. Psych, bitch! Have you seen Xrd? This bitch is a nightmare too. No wonder why she been getting dick down, getting dirty with this nigga. I support this couple wholeheartedly. I think they do astounding. Nah, but this game in itself provokes the most dysfunctional scramble I've ever witnessed. Very close to Street Fighter V in that sense. Everyone is capable of mashing bare minimum combos that do 60% health for no reason, and I'm just baffled as to how this game is considered challenging for that sole fact. Players try and deem that this is what causes the neutral to be extremely important. Excuse me? As far as I'm concerned, if you have 50% tension, forget what a damn neutral has to say. Not only is the neutral absolute nonsense, but this game also constantly encourages you not to block, due to the thin purple gauge known as risk, which punishes you with absurd damage once you get opened up. Now, I think this was always in Guilty Gear, but it's kind of redundant to include this mechanic in the installment that has insane damage. I'm all for chip damage in a game, but the risk gauge stacking on top is a little excessive. Even though DBFZ fosters some undeniably laughable mechanics. As a DBFZ enjoyer myself, Strive can learn a thing or two about DBFZ's chastity belt as defense. You know, where you get rewarded for impenetrable D. But you know, thank God for instant block, which is absolutely useless. And thank God for faultless defense, which here and there causes you to accidentally get counter hit upon startup. In fact, don't thank God, thank that man. Thank that man for Guilty Gear's autopilot 2 to 3 frame throws that people insist on still doing despite being shimmied and counter hit 5 times prior in the same match. Though, at least in this game, there's a pretty laggy animation for it. Thank that man for the 5 to 6 frame difference between the PS4 and PS5 releases compared to the PC versions. And thank that man for the Potemkin mains who... everything. Look, I can confidently say I can win 90% of my matches on the Celestial floor with the 3 characters I do use. Geo, Milia, and Ino, please don't call me Suspect or a Coomer. Ignoring what that means, but I'm primarily a Giovanna main, so I definitely know a thing or two about infantile character design. I'm not going to go into the specifics of the absolute blasphemous things Giovanna can do to somebody, because if you've played against this Brazilian baddie, you probably know. But the funniest part is, she's not even a top 5 character in this game. It's these idiots. And while I complain about all the bad habits that are encouraged in this game, it doesn't mean I can't deal with these players, because I can. The issue is with the game's core character design. Now look, I ain't nowhere near a Guilty Gear veteran. I haven't played past titles outside messing around Xrd for some time a couple years ago. Even though Celestial ranking doesn't qualify as an actual feat because some of the biggest hooligans I've dealt with sit up there, I've reached Celestial 4 times now. 3 times on PSN, once on PC without dropping a game from the bottom to top floors. I've seen the horrors of this terrible lobby system that somehow fools new players into believing they're making progress. Like literally, they make you do this every month. What? Are you supposed to say that since I can consistently make the Celestial floor means that I'm making progress? Hell no! Go enter your ass in a tournament! The .exe ass niggas that you meet at the Celestial floor will never measure your skill. And while that may be harsh to say, because who am I to tell you what is progress? If you're content with yourself, that's fine. I'm just saying, I want standard matchmaking back. All these new changes are just horrifying. I've seen the horrors of the unsolidified nonsense from Chip's nearly unpunishable command grab. The Potemkins who have no idea when it's their turn. You get the idea. The souls who can't wait to Bandit Bringer.
Slap.
And the Kaimanes, who are too busy boxing with their demons. Even not regarding the game's character design, it's borderline dysfunctional. Now don't get me wrong, literally most fighting games are. That's quite literally where a lot of the love in them lies. But this isn't a flashy kind of dysfunctional. It's not the stuff you laugh at and say, yo, this game is sick. It's not Super Smash Bros. Melee. And trust me, nothing is. And I've got my problems with that party game too. It's got crouch canceling in it. Albeit that's not the hardest mechanic to deal with. That game is still somewhat more of a fighting game than this game is. Strive is just exhausting. Clashing with DPs that allow your opponent to take their turn back. Moves just sometimes do not work.
Psych Burst is one of the worst and poorly designed mechanics I've seen in a modern day fighting game. Supers, I guess, randomly hit behind you. Soul is... While Strive is fun for short periods of time, I can't help but say it's mostly a miserable competitive experience. Before y'all say some nonsense like, wow, Courtland, you sound like trash. Strive is nothing compared to Ref 1 Johnny, and Elfeld, and Sin, and Reload, and GG, XJ9, and I Don't Care, and...
Am I glad he's frozen in there and that we're out here and that he's the sheriff and that we're frozen out here and that we're in there and I just remembered we're out here.
I don't care. Bad things can coexist with one another. They're all bad for completely different reasons. With Strive, the biggest issue is the accessibility. The insane stuff is just severely easy to do.
Strive is a game filled with the nastiest characters and playstyles I've seen relative to its own cast for a game that isn't a 3v3. Solely, I'm talking about just this game, not the other Guilty Gears, solely for the fact that it tries to brand itself as some understandable reimagining of a fighting game franchise that I've never in my life had an attachment to. If Daisuke's vision is telling me to off, it's doing a great job. Developers have been tackling this incentive to make fighting games more accessible to casuals, and that's completely fine. It seems like they have a general motive for those who work less to have an easier time against those who do work for their skill. An embarrassing game philosophy they've come to establish. It just completely betrays the concept of dexterity. And don't get me wrong, there are still some cool things you can do in Strive, and it will still be a product of your game sense. On occasion, the better player will probably win, such as baiting burst, and sometimes downright outplaying your opponent. But you're never actually outplaying your opponent. Your goal is to maneuver the outstanding strengths your character has better than your opponent does for theirs, which could debatably be considered as outplaying, as that is mostly a fine and practical philosophy for any fighting game. Yet when the damage is so absurdly high for such bare-bone combos, it kind of defeats the purpose for a game built on broken tools against broken tools, which is ironic considering how dumbed down the movesets in Strive are compared to the past predecessors of Guilty Gear. And the truth is, sometimes no matter how hard you work in life, you will never receive the reward that will equate to the effort you had put in. That applies to everything, even fighting games. You mean to tell me you think that I believe that Xrd was some holy righteous game, even ugly ass plus R? No. In those games, there will always be those who are carried and those who carry characters. And of course, there are people who are absolutely good at these games as well. But Strive is like, what if you gave the first two's agenda cocaine? Or Psych Burst? There are genuinely good things about this game, like the actual character designs and the controversial, yet in my opinion, successfully experimental OST. I mean, just listen to the segment of Zatsu's theme.
I once had some sweet memories. Each world remains all the same. How can I remember those moments when
is great. And quite literally the best thing about the OST is that every character you look at, regardless of knowing their lore, if you hear the themes, you would believe it works. And that's a massive step as a whole for storytelling without outwardly explaining anything. The cast may be excessively fantasy, but it has managed to perfect the look of nearly every character on the roster, which hasn't been a quality present in a Guilty Gear before. As I said earlier, there are some legit plays you could do in this game, and it's cool to see there are still traits of a respectable fighting game in stride. With rollback netcode, DLC, and steady patches, it's got an undeniable future. But at characters like Daisuke's self-insert, Soul bad man, excuse me, Soul bad guy, remain free from patches of Daisuke's vision, this game will be in an awful spot. Well, I already think this game's in an awful spot, but my opinion is not the only one that matters when concerning a game with this demographic. While Guilty Gear Strive may be one of the best-selling fighting games of all time for ArcSys, I can't help but feel it's a mostly hollow, limited, and miserable experience from a purely competitive standpoint. But what do I know? Play the game for yourself, form your own opinion, and tell me how it goes in the comments. If you like this game, I'm sorry. If you don't like this game, then welcome, nigga. But nigga, you're not special either. And like I said, if any of y'all think, you're just complaining because you're bad at the game, then come run the set, my nigga. But disclaimer, if you use any of these characters, please do not hit me up.